Most traders right now are turning very bearish on Bitcoin because we dropped below these levels. But right now, guys, in today's video, I want to show the other side because there are actually also some signs pointing to a short-term bounce. And in today's video, I'm going to share those signs with you, and I'm going to share the levels with you that Bitcoin or other charts have to reclaim in order to have a more bullish outlook in the shorter term time frame. So guys, let's jump straight into it. Of course, before we are zooming in, make sure to smash up that like button. That is very much appreciated, helps the channel out a lot. Let's dive into Bitcoin. And so far we're actually still trading in this sideways range, which is a potential Wyckoff accumulation period where we are actually already talking about for quite some time. What we have seen recently is that the price of Bitcoin dipped below the support zone, came to roughly 18,300, slightly below. But as you can see, we kind of had a quick reaction from there. So there's a lot of liquidity that has been picked up there quite quickly because we just have a wick on the daily time frame and the price of Bitcoin came back up. And if we go to the 4-hour time frame, it's actually looking a little bit. We gotta be careful right there. That's what I'm saying. We gotta be careful, but we gotta also be realistic in the sense of that everybody, or the majority right now, is definitely bearish on Bitcoin and anticipating a huge move to the downside. And the bigger that group is, the bigger that group of traders and investors is that are anticipating a move to the downside, the less likelier it is actually to happen. And guys, I know it sounds very controversial to say like when the majority is bearish, things are actually looking more bullish, and the other way around as well. But these are just simple market mechanics. It means that, for example, if the majority right now is bearish, anticipating a big move to the downside, then they already prepared for that. Which means that the price of Bitcoin right now is already included with that big group of bears anticipating for a move to the downside. So who is going to sell if the majority already sold and the price is still holding the support? That is basically the controversial way of how the market works. When the majority, for example, is very bullish, then the majority also have already bought Bitcoin at that price whenever Bitcoin is at that certain price. So who is going to provide the liquidity for Bitcoin to go higher? That is the question you gotta ask yourself. So it is actually more positive when we are just flipping from bearish to bullish, because then the bears, they slowly get back into Bitcoin and lately going in with FOMO, basically providing the liquidity for a move to the upside, because there need to be sellers to go down, there need to be buyers to go up. And if everybody already sold, who's going to sell to drive the price even further down? That is basically how it works. I hope this makes sense, okay? This is also something I'm teaching in my trading course more precisely, how these markets works and how you can take advantage of that. You can find more information about that in the links I have down below this video. But what we are seeing with Bitcoin, we had a dip, very short-lived below that support. Right now it's being bought up. And on the 4-hour time frame, I gotta say we have to be slightly cautious because we have this former support zone, which right now can be tested as resistance. So we have a drop, we get a quickly buy up due to the fact that we're touching some liquidity. Then we get rejected from this former support. That is a possibility, definitely, and we should consider that as one of these scenarios that could be playing out. However, what are the bullish signs that I'm seeing? Well, for that I want to go to the S&P 500, because the S&P 500 actually is looking bearish because it broke certain price structure, but bullish because we are seeing some interesting signs over here. I've been talking about it in yesterday's video. We have a megaphone pattern, declining megaphone pattern, which eventually we could break out to the upside, right? But as long as we are trading below that resistance, we're still trading in that formation, which gives us a likelihood to continue to trade in that formation, which is declining, which gives us a likelihood to see lower levels on the S&P 500. If we look at the shorter term time frame, or we look at what recently happened with the S&P 500, then we can see that we had this head and shoulders formation that I've been talking about. We have the middle of the megaphone pattern that we are testing right now. We reclaimed that level basically yesterday, and what we can see is that we're moving between those levels. So we broke the neckline, but we're trading above the middle of the megaphone pattern. The middle is very, very important. As you know, with every channel, the middle is actually quite important and actually shows the significance of the channel at all. So when you draw a channel on the charts and you don't see that the middle is being respected, then most likely your channel is wrong drawn. So you should change the channel then. What we can see also is that while the price is making a lower low on the daily, we get a higher low on the relative strength index, which is a bullish divergence on a daily time frame. That is also quite a strong signal, I have to say. We got a gap down, as you can see right here. That gap down is something similar as we are seeing with CME gaps on Bitcoin. These gaps tends to be filled. Also in the S&P 500, the reason why we see it on the CME is because, or the reason why we actually got to that idea of filling the gaps on the CME is based on the stock market, because the stock market is doing that already for a way longer period, of course, than crypto, filling up these gaps. You can see it right here. We got a gap down, and then afterwards the price bounces from support, fills up the gap. We got right here a gap, price comes back down, fills the gap. So guys, that is another bullish signal that we have a gap above us, and we also have that on the Bitcoin CME futures chart. So that is just very interesting, and that is also going to be the signal, the more important signal. If we can get a nice bounce from here, we can reclaim that neckline again, then things are actually looking rather more bullish than bearish in the shorter term time frame. However, very important to note right here, doesn't mean that we can do something like this and eventually pass these lows. But sometimes most of you viewers are also focused on the short-term trading because you are derivatives traders. So that's why in the shorter term time frame there might be still a little bit room for a bounce, depending on what the S&P 500 is going to do and depending whether Bitcoin is going to get rejected from that former support or whether we can reclaim that former support and maybe see a continuation in this bounce. If we look at the body of the candle, it is still possible that we set a higher low right here. If we look at the wick, it is not the case, of course, but some traders, they like to look at the bottom. For me, I just like to look at the structure, at the bigger structure, and what we are seeing is that we are still trading in this sideways range, and this could be a small fake out like we have been talking about in this channel as well, which eventually can help providing some liquidity for Bitcoin to go up. I don't want to become extremely bearish right now. I want to stay a little bit neutral due to the fact of the signals that we are seeing on the S&P 500. Because yes, we broke some key levels. Yes, that is bearish. But there is a but in the background. We are seeing some bullish signs. And I first want to see some follow through with selling in order to become that bearish. For example, leave this range right here or losing those levels on the S&P 500. Otherwise, I think there's still a very small chance that we still see a short-term bounce. And maybe that bounce can be shortly lived. And maybe we will see something like this, that the funding rates right now are negative. This is the average funding fee. Everybody who don't know that yet, we just recently added that over on Will Portal. We also added Bybit Bitcoin contracts and Bybit US dollar Tether contracts. And the average funding fee just basically calculates the average of all the funding fees that we're tracking, which gives a better oversight, right? If we, for example, just look at BitMEX, then it looks slightly different. Average funding fee is just taking more data, which makes it more reliable. And what we can see is the funding rates are negative, which basically means that the majority right now is shorting. And if Bitcoin were to drop down right now, that also means that the majority of the markets would get a profit, at least the majority of the futures traders right here. And as you guys know, that is often not the case. Often the majority is getting punished in the markets. That's another sign which could tell us that there is still a likelihood for a Bitcoin to bounce, even though it is short term, to change, to flip the sentiment a little bit. So we could, and I just say, we could see something like this. This is just a potential scenario that we have seen right here as well. We got negative funding rates. People are very bearish. Then those funding rates are slightly turning positive with the price moving sideways or slightly up. And as you can see right here, it turns positive. Then we are most of the time seeing the price dropping of Bitcoin. So right here we turned positive from being negative at the 19th of September at 2 o'clock. This is a 8-hour window, so that's the 19th of September. Let's have a look how that looked in the price. So yeah, guys, what we can see at the 19th of September, starting at 2 o'clock right here, you can actually see that was right before we get quite a big dump in the Bitcoin price. That is a couple of candles, couple of hourly candles before, and I think the funding fees is a very good predictor of such a short-term drop, because if the funding rates are negative and the price doesn't move up, that still means that the market sentiment in general is quite bearish. Actually, the market situation is still quite bearish. If we then flip from negative to positive, then that is a very bearish sign, and most of the time comes along with a drop in the Bitcoin price. This was a short-term drop. This was a drop of approximately 6%, happened 1 or 2 hours after we got those positive funding rates, and was also done in a couple of hours. And as you can see, the moment we come back down, a lot of people, a lot of traders become bearish again because the price moving down. And while people becoming bearish, we can see that the people are opening shorts again, making the funding rates negative, but basically stopping the price from Bitcoin to come further down, because the funding rates turn negative and the price eventually goes up again. And most of the time, it will not have a clear direction to the downside when there is extreme negative funding rates, due to the fact that it is the more unlikely scenario for the majority of the traders to be rewarded in this market. That's why it's always nice to have a kind of contrarian standpoint, but you also got to be careful with that, of course, because being always a contrarian doesn't make any sense as well, because you will be often in the middle of a transition, right? When we are going from bearish to bullish, there's a lot of ways to be a contrarian, but the best way to be a contrarian is at the extreme. So when there's a real extreme of majority being bullish or real extreme of majority being bearish, then the having a contrarian standpoint works basically the best. So guys, that is what I'm watching over on Bitcoin. We're right now still trading below the support. That is definitely bearish. Things are not looking all too bullish. However, there are some bullish signals that we should not ignore for a short-term bounce in the Bitcoin price. What we need to see, the S&P 500 reclaim some levels and see a continuation to the upside. See that bullish divergence on the daily playing out basically, and Bitcoin needs to reclaim the support to also get some more bullish momentum and maybe see a further bounce in the Bitcoin price. One thing that you can also use to spot basically when Bitcoin is picking up some momentum is looking at the relative strength index and check if you can find any hidden bearish divergences. So when the relative strength index is retracing farther than the price, then that is most of the time a bearish signal and could come along with the price coming back down afterwards. I think right now, for predicting or to have a better grip on the markets with Bitcoin, it is definitely the best way to go and have a look at Will Portal every time before opening a trade to check what's going on. Are the funding rates positive, negative? What is the average funding fee? Are the Bitcoin balance on exchanges increasing? We have seen an increase. After that increase, we did saw a drop in the Bitcoin price. This is a very significant chart. I've made a tutorial on how to use this chart exactly. I would highly recommend everybody to watch that tutorial. It's over on the YouTube channel from Will Portal. If we, for example, see a continuational move to the upside right here, okay, that can be an indicator of an increased likelihood of Bitcoin going back down in the not so distant future. And very short term is of course the take buy sell ratio. There you can see whether right now people are more into buying or selling, but this is actually working directly on the markets, and it's not really a contrarian signal. This is the other way around. It is a kind of a direct signal. When there is directly a lot of people opening more market orders long, then that has a higher likelihood to drive the price up in the shorter term time frame. And when we are going down, it has a higher likelihood to for the price to come down. Don't take this as exact signals. So every time we hit above a green line, it's a buy signal. No, you should combine this with different metrics. You should never basically rely on one single metric. Guys, this is what I'm right now watching in Bitcoin. If you like today's analysis, if you learned something, then definitely make sure to smash up that like button, guys. That is very much appreciated and is very needed in these times of a bear market. We need a lot of engagement to push these videos, to get new energy into the crypto markets, get new people involved in Bitcoin, and that will be just very, very awesome, guys. If you all can smash up that like button, and if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below, hit the bell icon so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. If you are interested in trading Bitcoin, guys, I'm recommending 4 exchanges down below this video. And if you sign up on one of these exchanges, you will get a extra additional bonus. And the first exchange is Bybit, where you can get a bonus of $4,500 and a discount on your fees with this link down below. On BitGet, which is a new exchange around the corner, you can get a bonus of $4,273 and you will get a $10 free for just signing up with this link, and you will get an extra 10% deposit bonus for the first 100 signups. And there are still some spots left, guys, if you want. So if you would deposit $1,000, you will get for free $100, which you can just use for trading or paying your fees and so on. Then on Prime XPT, where you can trade also other things than crypto, like oil, S&P 500, but also gold, silver, and so on. They right now offer a bonus of up to $7,000 with this specific code. And on Fimix, you can get a $1,200 bonus. For all the traders interested in that, you can find all of my affiliate links down below. You can also find the Will Portal YouTube channel below, and the Will Portal website, and of course our Twitter accounts and my cryptocurrency trading course, which I would highly recommend for anybody just starting out with trading and really wants to get a better understanding in the cryptocurrency markets. My course is designed to teach you how to create your own profitable crypto trading strategy. For more information, check out this link. Then, guys, I want to thank you very much for watching. I want to wish you all a great day, and I hope to see all of you in the next video.